One moment, please. Good evening. It is 7:33, Tuesday, February 3rd, 2026. We now call to order the Historic Town of Eatonville Regular Council meeting. Verification form.
Councilwoman Randolph.
Here.
Councilman Mack.
Here.
Councilwoman Jordan.
Here.
Vice Mayor Washington.
Present.
Mayor Carter.
Here. Please stand for a moment of silence followed by the pledge. The pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For the approval of the agenda, we will be removing item number 3 from the consent agenda. Here,
Council's decision. On the consent.
okay, it's been asked that the item number 4 is moved to council decision. And the presentations, we're going to postpone until the next meeting. Okay, with that being said, is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. All right, we will continue. Technical difficulty alert.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Tonight, as you can see, the back 2 screens are not working. We're having some technical difficulties, but if you just turn your head, we still have a bigger screen on display.
Thank you very much. The next item on the agenda, citizen participation.
First, we have NY theory on preserve.
Good evening, Mayor, Council,
Good evening.
Mr. CAO. I'm here on behalf of the Association to Preserve Eatonville Community to thank the administration and town council for the assistance that you have offered in presenting the 36th annual Soaring University Festival of the Arts, actually the 37th annual Soaring University Festival of the Arts. It is a little ironic that I should come at this time and hear about the discussion about property taxes and the kinds of things we're looking at. Respectfully, I'm going to ask that after the election here, that you schedule a workshop, on a way to look at the advantage that Eatonville has, historic Eatonville has, in terms of developing year-round cultural tourism. I've come tonight, however, to present to each of you all this t-shirt. Did you hear that music? I've been told that in the winter. All right, so to Mayor Gordon. I think I have to get this to your hands for them.
Yeah, that works.
Okay. So Mayor Gordon, you on. Yes. Vice Mayor Theo Walton, even though accommodate this with. He didn't speak.
Wow.
I need another shirt, man. I need another. I need a super one deal. Trust me. Thank you.
Councilman Randolph.
I'll make sure I see you later.
Councilman Mack. And Councilwoman. All right.
Thank you.
That is.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, 2 more minutes.
Thank you.
Next, we have Joyce Irving.
Good evening, council residents. Good evening. The nerd in me needs to say something. 40 years ago, on the night of January 27th, 5 engineers told NASA, you cannot launch a space shuttle. Tell them. They had an emergency meeting on the telephone. And there was an engineer named Bob Edwin who was screaming and pounding, they're going to die if you launch this shuttle. He says, first of all, it's too cold. And a $36 piece of rubber. You know, rubber shrinks when it's cold and it expands when it's in. We have evidence from the prior shuttles that the O-rings are shrinking. So the brass is like, you know, well, we're the people in charge. You nerds are okay, but go somewhere because we're sitting up here and what do you want us to do? It's going to disappoint the public, blah, blah, blah. So Bob's daughter said that he just was walking around just banging on things. And so the next morning, they launched the shuttle. All the engineers were together. 60 seconds in, they were like, we're home free. Bob was like, no, wait for it, wait for it. 13 seconds later, boom. For the specific reason that he said, and 7 souls were lost for political reasons. One of them was a black guy that played the saxophone. So, you know, but something even worse than that is people think that they died with the explosion. They drowned. They drowned and they had to go through flying through the air, speeding down to earth, hitting the water and drowning. And it was so avoidable. Just because the people in charge were like, we don't have to listen to you, you know, listen to you little people. 4 days ago, 2 scientists came on, I think it was NBC or ABC Nightly News, saying the same thing about Artemis. The difference is, well, there's a woman in charge of the launch at NASA now. And she said, no matter what, we're going to do our wet dress rehearsal and we have to have this done. And they were like, the hydrogen, you're not going to be able to hold it. So 2 nights ago, when they had the wet dress rehearsal, they had to stop because hydrogen, which is the smallest molecule, is leaking all over the place. So as not to blow up the whole pad, they were like, maybe we'll listen to the people who have the knowledge. And I feel like there's a war on intellect sometimes. And I talk about, I'm not the smartest person, but I'm gonna hang out with the smartest people because I always want to learn and grow. And I just want to encourage all of you never to be intimidated by intellect and find the people who know whatever it is that you don't know, because there's plenty that I don't know, and listen to them. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Ryan.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, members of the
evening.
community. So I'll address property tax in just a second, but I also wanted to talk about MLK and Zora. It's so wild how the traffic patterns and control on MLK were so poor done, and on Zora they were nearly flawless. So I don't know what was different, but next time do that again. Because MLK was really a travesty for me trying to navigate. Zora Fest worked out just fine. So there was definitely some conversations about property tax, very much Chicken Little, but there are discussions being had about things that will help mitigate. Some of those things are obviously related to sales tax, luxury tax, mitigation on common goods and medicines and things for medical. So all of these things will help that, but that's not to say that there is not merit in it, because it will be a significant problem. And it is something that we have talked about in here for years, about our reliance on property tax of the community and not growing to create a corporate tax or a business tax or something that is more sustainable than a property tax. So to Mr. Daniels, there are creative ways also to help make up that revenue. But there is also an opportunity, should the conversations go the right way, that with the discussions around the revenue sharing of the increase in taxes based around homes, not homesteads, in the community, Eatonville could actually start to gain more from state revenue than otherwise received from the property tax that we had today. Again, all of this is still in discussion, and they're moving full steam forward with eliminating it over time without actually putting it into paper or into law, a backstop or an actual solution. So it is our responsibility to come up with things that will prosper the community, and growth is how we remain independent. So that is key, and that is the most important thing that we can do without relying on others and outside forces.
Thank you. The next item is the consent agenda, and I just want to add that the minutes are for January 6th, 26th and January 20th, 26th. With that being stated, the consent agenda for items 1 and 2 is there a motion? It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed. And then finally, we have the approval of the WBQ engineering to contract for drinking water system engineering services. Ms. Monty.
I'm gonna turn this over to Mo Renee, who's our program manager.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, council members and members of the public. So this item is to approve WBQ for the engineering and design services for the drinking water system as part of the infrastructure. The last time we were here, we had the approval for GAI. So this is the second section of the 2 projects under the program. We have the drinking water and the wastewater, as you guys are aware of. The wastewater is going to be going to GAI, and then the drinking water phase is going to be going to WBQ. When we started the procurement, we started this by ranking the firms, which was actually the item we brought to agenda in December, I think December 20th. And at that time, we ranked the firms. CPH was ranked first, and then was GAI, WBQ, and Spectra. So per the CCNA requirements, we started the negotiation with CPH for drinking water, and then we had negotiations with WBQ for wastewater. The requirements are that if we cannot come to an agreement, and our agreement was based on, our negotiation was based on a few factors. We had a scope of services that we gave to both firms. Those scope of services, they're 2 different projects, but it's reflective of what the town wants. So we need a design firm to design. For the drinking water is the drinking water infrastructure along Kennedy Boulevard, and for wastewater was the the sewer systems for Marine area, service area, the Lake Lovely, and we also had the northeastern side of Kennedy. So based on those scope of services, we also had a schedule that was associated to it. The schedule is based primarily on the funding source. The funding is coming from the SRF grant, and they have specific deadlines that we have to meet to continue getting disbursement from the state for this project. So that schedule was also attached to the requirements as part of the negotiation. And then the other part of it was ensuring that the companies were able to give us a plan, a fee that would be commensurate with what we're actually doing. So we had a program that there's a construction value, there's a design allocation. So each of the firms turned in their fee proposals, they gave us their schedule commitments, and they also gave us they were able to respond to us whether they can meet the scope of service that we needed. When we had to go from CPH to WBQ because there were some non-compliant items from on the part of CPH. One of it was the core design scope. When we issued the scope to the firms, we needed both firms to be able to ascertain that they will be able to perform the scope as is stated. CPH redlined some items, and those red lines were not acceptable to the sustainability of the project. So we had to kind of move on from that, and also the budget was also something that was we couldn't come to terms with. So we moved on to having a conversation and negotiating with WBQ. Every step of the process is documented, and we have copies for the record. Should there be any questions or any further inquiries, and with WBQ, they stepped in as the third ranked firm during the negotiation process, and so that's what brought us here today. The item in the package shows their scope. That is the scope that this town issued, and their response to it, if you look at the items in blue, they have something in blue. It corresponds with a fee that section of the scope is going to cost. So it's kind of like connected. So that's their response to the scope. So they're accepting the scope the way the town has presented it, and then they gave us the fee. And these were on forms that we issued, and
Yeah, my concern, that's one of the questions I had, is that what were the terms that CPH did not meet the terms of the contract?
so they redlined a few items, and that could read out some of the things that. So CPH redlined the baseline schedule. A few things that they removed critical activities like the permits. The permits we cannot afford to not meet the deadlines that are set by the state. So the state sets the deadline, and those are non-negotiables. We have reached out to the state to see if there are possibilities of getting an extension. As of right now, they have told us no. So if we have a designer that is telling us we cannot meet that schedule, we cannot assume that the state is going to give us an extension. So that was a big issue between during negotiation. Then some of the other items that they redlined, the MOT, which is maintenance of traffic, that's a big design effort. The part of the construction is effective and it flows well when the designer gives us a packet of a proper maintenance of traffic packet. So, and that was another thing that they redlined. There were some other items that they redlined, but those were significant ones that we couldn't overcome.
Okay, there was a question that was directed to me from one of the students in the class. Wanted to know about, and I would like to know, but just in conversation, about the proper disposal of hazardous materials when it comes down to the actual work, as far as asbestos or any type of piping that's going to be hazardous. How is that going to be handled? Is that going to be done by a professional or?
Yes, asbestos is going to only be removed by professionals. So part of what happens in design is the design process gives us the requirements and the process of how do we remove asbestos. So how are we going to construct this project is going to be determined during the design process, and that's what we have the designers out there. So that will be determined during the design process. So right now we haven't kind of come to a final decision on how we remove it, but that will be done during the design process.
So is there anything as far as the town of Eatonville, the town itself, will be evolving as far as making sure that the procedures are done properly?
I think usually we do the workshops. So when it comes to like giving the town and the council an idea of where we're going. So when we get to constructability or right before construction, we would have a workshop with these are the these are the areas that we're going to hit, these are our construction methods or our proposed methods. We probably would do that sometime before construction, and so maybe what we'll discuss is having maybe 1 or 2 workshop presentations where we could discuss that.
Okay, will there be any of my last question? Will there be any awareness or community engagements as far as this work is being done as to the public, the residents here in Eatonville? Do they need to be aware of anything concerning this project?
Yes, there's going to be community engagement in
Yes.
terms of a lot of the MOTs, and we would have signage in terms of when the project is going to start. One of the things that we also will be doing and we are working on is our presence at different events that is at Eatonville, because those are also places where we get to engage with members of the community to let them know that this project is starting, when we expect to start working Vereen or start working with Lovely or start work along Kennedy. So we would have those community engagement opportunities. The website is also going to be another place where we post a lot of information on what's going on and where we are with the construction.
All right, thank you.
I got more of a comment than question.
Wait, one moment.
I'm sorry.
Inspection, who doing the inspection of the projects? Who inspecting work when they close the hole? Who doing?
So that is not, we don't have any inspection services determined yet. That's during construction. So this is like a phased approach. So right now we're kind of focused on the design phase, and we have identified the designers, but we would identify that closer to when the construction is.
Do we have a map? Do we have the system where these pipes are going or being laid or cleaned up? Do we have a map?
We have a map. I don't have it.
I just want to be, because we just got a proposal for another company to come to do some mapping, some piping. So we're gonna make sure that we're not interfacing or with the other company, if we let that happen. You come in to do that, so I want to make sure that our work be getting done without interfering or collaborating together doing the same thing. So I want to see, I like to see the mapping with water route, pipes routes going, that kind of stuff there would help me out a lot to see the areas that are gonna be what these pipes are.
Yeah, so as part of this project, there were some benchmarks that we had to present to the state. One of them is a facilities plan that actually shows them what we're doing and what the initial plan is. So where is this work going to be located? And so we have the basic initial plan of what we're doing. It's going to be further developed during design, so it'll be cleaned up a little bit, but yes, we can do as part of the next workshop, seeing the areas.
Yeah, I want to make sure, put these two maps together and see where it's the issue or not. That's all right.
All right, Councilwoman Jordan.
All right, kind of piggybacking off of what Vice Mayor said, I know that in September, I think I did read when we discussed it, we didn't have a drinking water master plan or the facilities plan were not in place. So I would like to make sure that we're able to take a look at that, right? Just like he said, so we can make sure that we know where the pipes and everything are gonna be going. And I do have another question, who's on the PMT team?
So the PMP team, you mean the program management?
Yes,
So that's GCI.
that's GCI.
Yeah.
And then I did read that it was supposed to be consisting of someone from the town council, but someone present from the council on that board.
So the program management team is not, it's not like an elected board. It's not a board per se, it's a service. So just like designers, it's a professional service. So it's under a professional services agreement. So I'm not sure if the question is, if I understand the question, like having someone.
Well, I read it in the package that there was gonna be a team and it was gonna be comprised of someone from the council, someone from administration, and you all, and that would be meeting weekly and or bi-weekly. So that's something that I read back from September of 2025. That was in one of the other, I guess, meetings that we had. So I'm just trying to make sure that either that has happened or,
I can look into it.
Okay, back was to 2025.
Was that in the council meeting?
Yeah, it was in one of the packages that we had in September 2020. And I do have another question in terms of, and the reason why I want to know some of these things is because obviously we all know the elephant in the room is that thing that we have down in Calendar Park. The trailer that's down there. So I just want to kind of stop some of that we got going on, and maybe don't want to stop the process, but slow it down a little bit so that we can get all of the facts. And something else, when did we get the grant and what's the total amount of the grant?
The grant was signed, I'll tell you, 1 second.
It's a lot. You're talking about the same grant?
We're talking about the SRF grant, so I think.
Yeah, the drinking water.
Yeah.
Okay, this one.
Yeah.
Please, Lieutenant, y'all help me. Remember, I'm new, I'm just trying to find out, catch up, get there, sorry. I'm gonna stop saying it after a while.
Executed the grant towards the end of 2024.
Yes.
And then we put a solicitation out for a program manager who is pretty much an extension of staff. They do the management of the whole program. They monitor the grant funds. They make sure that the consultants are doing, and they make sure that we're meeting the deadlines in accordance with the grant. The program manager was brought on in January of 2025. That was a requirement of the grant, is that we had an engineer in place. So the program management team is a program management engineering team to make sure the entire thing is managed. And then they GCI spent the entire 2025 putting the planning document together. And then once the planning document is approved by the state FDEP, then we moved on to, once they approved it, then we move on to selecting engineering consultants who will then put the drawings together. Once and the engineers have until April to complete their work. So it's a short window. We have about 3.5 months to complete their work and go into permitting. Then the state approves the engineering plans, and then we go out to bid, which will probably is scheduled for the summer. And then the actual grant expires in the third quarter, 2027. So it's a quick moving activity. Did I answer your question?
You did answer my question, so that's why I want to have this conversation again, based on what I just saw down there in Calendar Park, and I'm ashamed of that thing. Because we get ourselves in a time crunch. So like now what you're saying is that they have until April to move forward. So now we're rushed to kind of approve this process. Is that where we are this evening?
That's correct. We could not secure the engineers until the planning phase was approved. This planning is funding from Hurricane Ian funding that came from the federal government. So they already have a time frame, but we have steps that we had to take in the process. And we come to council for each of these steps. So we certainly, during engineering phase, want to have more open discussions with community engagement and the like. So everybody's on board for the entire process.
So what you're asking us this evening is to make a decision and run something really fast again. I'm just afraid, and like I said, with that whole Calendar Park thing, I felt like me personally was bamboozled, and I kind of let our residents down based on what I see. Okay, and I just don't want us to be in the same situation on this particular project as well. So I'm just trying to get a better, clearer understanding, so we're not rushing through and just agreeing, just to agree, right? And I think that we, the council and the residents of this historic town, we just deserve a better product. That's what I'm afraid of. So I'm just asking questions, right?
Absolutely. And
So, I mean, I don't know if it's something that,
No, I got
we
one.
want to look at tabling, or if not, we don't have to table it. But probably for me, probably a no.
So Councilwoman, this part of the process is to allow for this firm to come in and start doing just the design work. This is all design, so it's no construction part right now. This is strictly design.
Right.
So if design doesn't get done and you delay design for 4 months, then you're gonna be pushing back your project. You're gonna be even up on an even tighter timeline there.
Mhm.
So this is to allow this organization to come in for the design phase. Nothing dealing with construction. They're only dealing with design. So all this, it's nothing gonna be in the ground or nothing like this. They're literally surveying, telling how much materials needed, how it's gonna look, you know, how that we had for the winter park thing, how it's gonna look in it. So they're basically just designing. That's all this is. And I will say from this standpoint, from this office standpoint, I can agree that we have to do better with timelines, but a lot of times if you don't move forward and you neglect these grants and it kicks back, you're gonna be kicking back all the way around. And it not only is it gonna blackball you this one time, it's gonna blackball you all the way around because they're gonna say, hey, this 30-some million dollars we could have gave to someone else who was actually gonna do the work.
And I understand how the grants and the grant cycles work. I get it. And Miss Money has done a fantastic job. Kudos to her in terms of continuing to get those grants.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So I'm not really sure where the process is breaking down at. In terms of us, getting things done. So somebody may help me. Maybe we need to look at, we have Miss Money, she gets the grants. It's somewhere in between this process. I don't know if it's on the administrative side or what. Maybe we need to get her some more help for somebody to manage these grants.
So
Help me.
Councilwoman, you got my office bug because that is actually one thing that we're working on. We have someone right now who's working on a master plan of all the grants because I think Ms. Monday has done a great job, but you have so many grants that's going, those milestones need to be set. And then also you gotta make sure you got the cash flows to go along with it because we can sit here and talk about all day long what we need to do. But a lot of these grants are reimbursable or you gotta front the money up front like that. So we gotta make sure that we have it. So we are collectively working on that. And I will admit, and I think Ms. Monday will admit that we have been behind the gun on it, but we are very much working to make sure that we can get things in order to meet these deadlines.
And you telling me that we have someone in the pipeline that's gonna be able to assist Ms. Monday or?
We have
what
someone
are you
working,
saying?
and then we have someone that's working with the cash flows and with the milestones right now. You met, when was that, last week before last, with John and all them on that?
Yeah, yes, GCI is program managers. They are the professional managers for us. And they're making sure we're meeting deadlines and financial goals.
And were they the ones that worked on the thing in Kellina Park?
No, they did not.
No.
I'm just saying.
So I would say GCI is the organization that worked on Terminal C at the airport.
Yeah, but Eatonville.
No, but I'm saying, so just think about a project like that. They're coming in now and they're helping us now to be able to better collaborate all of our grants together. So they're getting all of our grants and helping us come up with milestones and cash flows to do that. The thing in Cali Park, we can discuss it after this. There's still work to be done. I'll say that.
After this particular discussion is what you're saying?
No, I'm saying I'll talk about it in my report and then. But this.
Okay, thank you.
I got more of a comment than answer question anyway. I just want to kind of like make an analogy. Even with all the different engineering companies that were ranked, I'm not opposed to approving it tonight because I am moving forward to approve it. But I want to say this right here, with all the rankings, and I know we had specific engineering companies that was at 1, 2, and now we're at 3. And I felt like all of them was qualified to do the job, but it was a lot of different things that stood in the way as far as how we analyze or how y'all analyze them being able to do the job from an engineering perspective. So back in 2023, and I want to make this analogy, you had a lot of 5-star athletes that went to college, and it was, the ones that was supposed to be, getting the job done. But guess what? The ones that wasn't at that level came in and did somewhat of a better job in a sense. And I know it doesn't really make sense to you guys. It seems a little cliche, but I don't like the way that the ranking have went And I know from a legal perspective, Attorney Shepherd had kind of laid it out, but I am opposed to a lot of things that had transitioned the way it did during the course of the time that it did, and then the company that ranked the highest ain't even here to even be able to do it. But I say that to say this right here. I am glad that we're spreading the ball around and getting the person that is capable of doing the job. And I think this company right here is going to be showing themselves and being able to do it. And like our CAO said, they're not doing the construction part of it. They're kind of like coming in and doing the design and what have you, you know. So I think we definitely need to start putting the cart before the horse on a lot of things that we do in this community when it comes to, you know, whether it's design and construction and bringing things to us to pretty much push us to make decisions off the cuff. So I had an opportunity to do my research and kind of, you know, look at the layout of it. And I'm definitely not opposed to approving this tonight. But it is some things that I will discuss during my report that I'm not happy with also. So I just want to kind of say that right there and give you my analogy on how I look at it. So just because you are here don't mean you're gonna be the one that actually get the job done, for whatever reason that is, and whatever you guys analyze to the point of them not being able to do it. So that's my spiel.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so approval of. There's no resolution. So is there a motion to approve the WBQ Engineering to contract for drinking water system engineering services?
So move. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. All right, it has been approved. We are now ready for reports.
So, I'll start with what Councilwoman Jordan said. I will be the first to admit that we do have a lot of grants that's in the pipeline, and we are working to get a good cash flow system down. And I can share it with you all later on. I won't do it tonight, but some of the points of it. But what's happening with the grants? Yes, Ms. Mundy has been the one that's been taking on a lot of this. GCI has stepped in to help assist at no charge to us. They're helping assist to make sure we can get milestones and templates and stuff in place, as well as policies to make sure that's done. I would say something that I would want everyone to consider is that I think at the junction that we're at right now with grants, with the Doc Phillips property, with the Hunger property coming and all those things, I think we may need to look at having a project manager come in to be able to assist Ms. Monday, because she's writing the grants and all that. But as I've been telling her, and I'm gonna give her flowers and her kudos right now, that she's been doing a great job, but I've been telling her she's carrying a lot. So you're writing grants and all that, and if you haven't been in that position to write grants and then trying to help facilitate and all that, that's a lot of work. So I think we do need to look at bringing a project manager in to also help offset that, because my other downfall to that, I told Ms. Monday, is we still have to sustain everything else that we're doing. Because you could be bringing in all of this extra work, but if your foundation ain't strong, it's gonna start collapsing. And I think that's what's been happening. She has had so much on her that some milestones have been missed and some things have been missed. And then we have to take ownership too, depending on how we're feeling. Sometimes we're stalling things. So then that causes a delay also. So I think that we just really have to look at giving her some help. And then also, how do we sustain this thing as well as continue to grow? Because we can't stall them, because if we stall them too long, the money, as we have seen in our state government and our federal government, they will snatch. So a lot of times we're holding and we're trying to keep them from snatching the money. So that's why we have to move them along. I'll address the Catalina Park. The Catalina Park thing.
I'll take it.
Okay, so the man says she'll take that one. So I'll go ahead and go into my other things. I'm requesting from any council or mayor, in the next 90 days, any events that you all are proposing that we need to do on your behalf or whatever, can y'all please submit that in? I'm trying to get us out 90 to 120 days out. Because I will tell you all, a lot of this stuff is coming last minute, and then the staff has to be pulled out to make an event or make something happen. That's gonna push grants and everything else off. So if you all know in the next 90 to 120 days, you all want to do something, can y'all submit that? As I talk to staff today about it, I'm just gonna, Councilman Mack, I'm gonna use you as an example. If Councilman Mack wants to do one of his cleanups, then we need to be attaching Councilman Mack and Public Works together to come together as a collaborative approach to do that event. If Councilwoman Jordan decides she wants to do something with youth, then we need to attach her with recreation to make that happen. They can help facilitate it and make sure that goes forward. So if y'all can please do that. We need to really look at some of our fee schedules. I'll tell you why I've been saying that. I'm glad to say right now, our permit department is actually, we're about 95% right now up to date. It wasn't like that. We were running behind, but right now we're at 95%. But I think we need to take some time and look at a lot of our fees. We're talking about how do we save money, how we do stuff. We really have to look at our fee schedules all the way around to make sure that we are charging enough money and revenue for things, and we're passing these costs along. Even to the point of people that's coming in asking about right of ways that we were talking about earlier and all that kind of stuff. If Attorney Shepherd is charging us $1 million, we need to pass that $1 million on to them instead of us paying it. But we got to make sure we got all of our criteria and stuff in place for that. As I said, permits, we're pretty much up to date on permits that's going around. I'll tell you in the last week or two, with the impact fees that we have in place and permit fees, we've collected probably about $40,000 in the last 2 weeks alone. But if we don't make sure that we have checks and balances in place, I'll tell you, a new single family resident was being built, and if wasn't paying attention to me talking with Tara, we would have lost out on that extra funding. But that's just making sure we got proper people in place, proper staffing in place, and going forth in that. To lead into that, started on yesterday, we have a new accounts payable full-time person that started. They came through Robert Half. The individual has 21 years experience of accounts payable. We can no longer be shade tree with the way we're doing stuff. We have too many important things happening for us not to have enough staff, fully staffed. So I'll tell you all, I'm aggressive right now on anybody that needs to be staffed up. We're trying to staff up. But then also, I know you all about saving. Then we are looking at doing some realignments that it may be some positions that we don't need to fill, and maybe we give a little extra here and there and cross train that we can save money for the town and be able to still move us forward in an aggressive way. Deputy chief position, I know you all froze that in the budget and told us to reallocate. Chief and I have sat down that. You all, I have individual meetings with you all over the next week. That will be on the next agenda for you all to approve that. Along with the breakdown. Events coming up that I know of on a larger scale. Don't forget, you all approved for the Droveville for February 21st and 22nd, a 2-day cultural event. I'll have more information to you all shortly on logistics and all that. The audit is in swing. I had a talk with the auditor today, still waiting on some things from our finance department. That's why we need to make sure we're fully staffed. But the auditor has said if we can get everything in that she needs by this Thursday and keep moving the process along, we can possibly have the audit back by the end of March. Along with that, I've been working with the auditor to better strengthen us to make sure that we're actually doing things the right way. I will be bringing back to y'all internal controls policy for our finance department, and it's going to strengthen us even more. We know some people are going to be mad both internally and externally, but we have to do the right thing to move this community forward. No longer is it about being a friendship, it's about business. So that's what we're putting in place. Also, a new policy will be coming out for invoice payment and reimbursement policy, as Councilwoman was talking about, dealing with federal and local grants. We need to make sure that we're not commingling funds and that we're following along, because the wrong thing to do is not use federal and state money the right way. And we think that other communities been dealing with Doge, we'll be dealing with it and it'll be bad. So that policy will be coming towards you all. Also, looking at doing some different branding and visual aspects of the town. Y'all, we haven't did any really conceptuals of branding of our town in a long time. So just thinking about how do we get some 3-minute info videos out there that encourage people to come to the historic town of Eatonville to visit and to spend money here. If we want to change it, we got to get people to start coming in our town, spending money and circulating money within our community, and us going somewhere else circulating. We're still working on the water and stormwater impact fee. And that's pretty much where we stand. Last thing is, I will be coming back asking for some budget adjustments. We're looking at the budget for the last 3 to 5 years. That we need to make some adjustments to make sure that we move money into the right place, put more money in reserve and contingency, and not pad the budget. And that's my report.
Thank you. Attorney Schuler.
Following the theme tonight, and because it came up about possible legislative replacements for property tax reform that goes through, I did a little searching while we were waiting to try to find any that are gaining traction. I think you'll find the third one most interesting, but the first two. Number one is a property sales transaction fee. Here's what that translates to. As currently proposed, if in fact this happens, it would be a situation in which you don't get any replacement revenue till somebody sells their home. And so then there would be a 5%, and don't ask me why they get away with calling this not a tax, they're calling it a transaction fee, but nevertheless, so if your house sold for $300,000, 500% would go into the transaction fee to the local government to try to make up the start making up difference of property tax. Of course, this depends on a couple of things that would be extraordinarily detrimental. Number one, the first one is that properties don't sell, in particular in a community like this, every day, every week, every month. These are people's homes that and they intend to stay in them, pass them on, and so forth. So it's not that no homes sell, certainly they do, but nowhere near what would be required on a regular basis, which would create the exact kind of turnover that creates that G word that we don't like. Gentrification. So that's problem number one. The other method, the second method discussed, is offsetting state surplus with general funds or general funds. And so, but it's not for everybody. It's saying they're talking about for smaller or rural community. Well, we definitely qualify as smaller. But as they say here, it's not a detailed mechanism. It has been referenced in legislative and executive discussions. But here's the one that hurts, at least I think it will hurt. And that is expanding or increasing taxes on rental properties and second homes rather than homesteads. And so what that means is for your apartment dwellers, and I know you have some new ones, their rents would go up because necessarily the rental owners of the apartments will be hit with the property tax bill, but they're not going to stand for it. They're going to pass it through to rentals, to the people who pay the rent. So that's not a free lunch. It just means that instead of people who own homes being paying taxes, people who don't own homes and are wishing that they could own homes will be. Doesn't sound right to me. And also there are a number of people here who have homes that rent them, and those people will be paying. And that means the people who are the 60% or however many it is that rent homes, they will pay more. So the old expression, there is no free lunch, is accurate. Don't know whether any of these will take the place of the lost property tax revenue, but the critical factor is they would be done separately. So if property taxes reform gets on the ballot and gets passed, that's only the reform. It has nothing to do with replacement. They're not currently coupled together. So unless they went on the ballot together, you would have zero guarantee of what would replace or fill the missing revenue. So there you go.
Thank you, sir. Okay. That's it.
I am such an optimistic fellow.
So I will go ahead and start. First of all, I want to thank PEC and the Zora committee for putting on another year of Zora. That is one of the main events each year. So hopefully there could be some sort of collaboration process in the future just to bring that back up to where it was initially and years ago. To address the Dodge, the DOJ grant. When the grant was initially written, it was written for a modular building. A modular building is similar to a manufactured home. The reason it was modular was because I knew that in the future there had been talks of redoing that park, period. And a modular building is easier to move in. That was in the beginning. However, when you have someone that is so pro town, then one of the reasons it went from modular to the beautiful edifice that you saw was because the intention was to bring something that was even better. But in doing that, it did take more time. People still didn't want that building either. So then in order to pacify, more meetings were held. And that took time as well. So then our time started running out, number one. Number two, the cost of that beautiful building was more than what the grant allowed. So we had to scale back. Well, you couldn't scale back enough in order to reach the numbers that the grant allowed for. So we have the beginnings of what still could be a very nice, very nice building. But it's not finished. There's still more to be done to it. But it will also have bathrooms. So the foundational purpose for that building, that structure, is still going to serve its purpose. And once everything is done, I think it will still be a pleasing structure. For those that didn't mind having the building there, it won't. I don't see it as being a problem. For those that never really wanted the building there, then of course this definitely will be a reason why, see, I told you we shouldn't have the building, but I don't see, once it's done, I hope that we can just withhold judgment. It's not what we wanted, but it will serve a purpose. And once it's done, if we'll just withhold our judgment, then it will be better. So I mean that's and this is what the original grant did call for, and it's within that amount. So with that being said, I'm gonna go to Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. I did have an idea too, years ago, bring the fire service fee, because we was paying a lot in the fire department, and Orange County Lakeland at the time. And we did have a study on that about 10 years ago, probably 11 years ago. The guy came in and told us the best way to save money to implement a fire service fee. But up here we got in the dialogue of it's a tax at that time. And I was always told it's not a tax, it's a fee that we need to offset the cost. So if we would have done that years ago, we'd be in a better shape today. Not even worry about the fire department or fire fee. And then again, I think when we got Orange County Fire Department, they did say we're supposed to build a fire department within 5 years. I think that was what they said to us when they got out of service, that we want you guys to build a fire department within 5 years. And it's been over 5 years since we had, I think it's been 5 years since we had Orange County.
Wow, it's been about three.
Three or five?
We had Maitland. And there is an interlocal agreement, Vice Mayor, with that. So.
Okay. But yeah, they do want us to build a fire department. So that's something we gotta look at too. And with the properties, that's another way we can bring revenue into the community. Yes, again, PC, Zora was a very cold day. Very cold. I think I got sick during that time there, but I weathered the storm. I paid for it the last couple of days. So thanks to NY for putting on another show for the town of Eatonville. Always great to see new people come to the town of Eatonville. We got people from Tampa, people from, I mean, just all over. So, like I said, I love seeing people come to Eatonville, especially first timers, especially first time. So, MLK, met people first time here too at the MLK parade. So, like I said, Eatonville is a place people want to come to see this community. So that's one thing that we must keep going and be positive. Has some positive things going on too. That when people come here, they can take something back, not just memories, but some type of token of history that they can take back. And that's something we have to talk about in the future with volunteers and stuff like that. That we can get these people in their hands to go back to their communities with, just not the remember of Zora, LLK, a festival, Juneteenth, for 1887 market, those things there. So we definitely must get some things in the hand. About 18th night market, are we doing that this weekend?
Yes, that's been approved for this weekend. So it's good for this weekend, but the month of March, I've notified the vendor that it's election, so they will not have it on premises.
That's one question I had. That's all I have. Thank you guys for coming out. That's all I have.
Councilwoman Jordan.
First of all, I'd like to thank all the residents for coming out. And to Ms. Monday, again, I certainly appreciate everything that you're doing for us in terms of the grants and all that. Hopefully, like the CEO said, we can get you some help so that way, we don't have to run into these jams with the timelines. GCI, thank you all. So hopefully we all can marry this thing together and make it work and get, I'm sorry, Mayor, a better product, right? But thank you for your clarification in terms of what's going on in Catalina Park, and I definitely look forward to seeing the additions to it, and I would like to, and hopefully I can have a smile on my face, Mayor. Okay, versus how I'm feeling inside, because it kind of hurts right now. I'm glad to know that we are continuing to work on the stormwater impact fees, stormwater and the impact fees that we definitely gotta have and put in place. And what else? PEC hat. I'm glad that we were able to participate. A very nice turnout, although it was cold. And anybody see Miss NY there before I see her? T-shirt. I love T-shirts. So thank you. Y'all see her before I do. I really do appreciate that. I have a question, maybe. CEO, you can help me. I have a resident that's interested in trying to see how they can get over into Holstein as far as a tour of who she needs to speak with to kind of get over to Holstein, if anybody can help me with that. And also another resident is concerned about the area down at Zaxby's and Walgreens area that I think is probably a homeless camp right there. And that they have mattresses that's out there. I think Councilman Matt, the last time when you did your cleanup, my understanding is that we were able to take care of that. So I know you're having the cleaning up coming up somewhere in the near future. If we can address that, that's what I was able to tell
So
them.
Councilwoman, that has been brought up. That roadway is actually owned by I believe Four Rivers.
Okay.
And that area of town, code enforcement is the county because of the cleanup and all that kind of stuff, that area, because of the easements and all that.
Mhm.
And we have been working with them. They have been contacted as of last month, because I noticed the same thing. It's the mattress right there. It's like 3 tires there. And then all those other kind of things is not too pleasing. So I have addressed that for code enforcement. So the county, they are gonna come out, but I know last time, Chief is not here, I'm gonna Corporate Jones know. But last time they had to go in kind of strong to go into that area because there are people living in, they will arm themselves or retaliate coming into that area, so. But we are addressing.
Portion of property is also DOT, believe it or not.
All right, thank you. And one other, now that I'm glad you mentioned code enforcement, on, I'm at 121 Bel Air, my mother is, right across the street. I can't remember what that address is. And if somebody can help me, we're on the corner of 121 North Wymore Road. It's 2575 right across the street, from my mother's house.
Okay.
All right, and I don't know if that's a car lot, and I know that it has been zoned commercial. But, sometimes you can go over there and there's probably about 5, 10, 15 cars, that's on that particular property. And yes, yes,
Okay.
absolutely. And you probably can go around there and it's a hazard, you know, when you're coming around that corner or whatever, but if we can have someone, code enforcement, perhaps can address that, I would greatly appreciate it.
It's on Bellevue.
It's on,
Bel Air.
Wymore and Bel Air.
Check the address of the house, because I believe it is zoning.
It is zone commercial. So it is zone commercial, so I'm not really sure if they, you know, if they can have those cars there the way that it is. I just don't know, but it almost looks like it's a car lot that they're running, you know, some type of business in terms of a car lot. I know it's tax season, so not sure, y'all. But thank you.
And the business license, that's what need to be looked at. You have people doing business in town that don't have business licenses. So that's another thing we need to look at while we losing money every place. But I'll come into that later, but that's just.
You gonna talk again?
I got one thing to say about Kelly and Lake.
Okay.
I talk about it later. That was saying. That's some echoes.
He proved my point, man.
We're gonna go Councilwoman Randolph.
Oh, back over.
Okay, all right, thank you. I'd like to say that this past weekend was a very good weekend. We had an opportunity, the council, to share a small amount of time with the mayor's conference, and that was very interesting. And also there was a comment made about the logistics of the MLK and Zora. I like to say that those are two of the larger events that we have in the town. But it's just like apples and oranges. You're gonna have thousands of people here for MLK and maybe even half or maybe smaller than that for the Zora Festival. So it does have a lot to do with the impact in traffic and cars. And I always want to have more here. That's just the nature of what we do here in the town, and that event has been going on for a very long time, for at least 50 years. Okay, and well, we appreciate that observation, and we will work towards getting things better. Okay, also, I like to say that the Calhoun Park issue, last week when they were installing the system, the management group there had mentioned that there's other components for that mobile unit that's coming. So we just can't just judge based upon what we see now. We know it's not a very pleasant sight because I was thinking the same thing, but I did go on a tour inside. And so once they get it completed, I think it'll be something that we can work with. And if it isn't, we can always do a facade on the front of the building to make it look very presentable. So let's just give that a chance. Also, I like to say that everyone seems to be doing a very good job. I appreciate the work here of the personnel. Thank you, Mr. Marlin, for what you're doing a very good, outstanding job in what you have to work with. So we just appreciate your efforts. And thank you, everyone. You have a nice day and good night. Thank you.
Councilman.
Good evening, everyone. I really appreciate everybody for coming out, being engaged in town business. The top of my list is just any condolence to anybody that have suffered any loss. I know I actually just had a big loss. Someone that's been a pillar in this community, Miss Cynthia Clark Clayton. She passed away on Sunday. Anybody that know her, man, you know, just pray for the family. It's a tough loss, so my condolences go out to that family. Also, just a great event that had taken place this past weekend. I'd like to give a great appreciation to Ms. Ilwana Theory and her team for all the efforts and you know, just excellent work that they've done. And it was, you know, the highlight of the weekend were the gala. You know, I had a great opportunity to go out there and experience that. and it was superb, so I give I give her her flowers for, just, bringing that to, full fruition in our community, and it was something that was much needed, especially with how everything was presented, so thanks to her, and then also, just happy Black History Month. I know we don't talk about it enough. Every month is Black History Month to me, not just February. So I just want to acknowledge that as well. Looking forward to the Drove concert that's going to be taking place February 28th, I believe. 21st, right here across the street. I'm on the Hungerford property. So if anybody that's interested in coming out, please come out and support the young man. He's a great kid. He has a vision that reaches so far above the sky. So, just come out and support him if you can. And congratulations to all the ones that just took the opportunity to, become a candidate to run for one of these seats up here. I give each and everybody that took the opportunity to, step out on faith and want to be a part of the community, but not just, be sitting up here, but do the work also, because, it's not an easy job. I just want to let everybody that is running to know that. And I know we have some past people that are currently running, and then we got some people that's never been elected that are running also. So, my hats off to you guys for just taking that opportunity to run for office. And for the Police and Community Center down here, I know I approved for the that not that particular building, but I know it's a lot of different other renderings, and I think I was kind of, slapped in the face. I won't get too much into it, but I'm extremely disappointed and what I see down there, because that wasn't what I envisioned, and then on top of that, I know we had some engagement with the community and stressing that they didn't want it. We had a small percentage of people that did want it because of I don't think we have any crime in Kelly, if you ask me personally. But anyway, neither here nor there. I definitely was opposed to what's down there now, and hopefully we can come to a better conclusion on how we do things as business perspective, and putting everything in order. So also host dime. I don't know what the anticipation of the completion of that looks like, but hopefully sooner than later. And if you have any idea, if you can give me a call or shoot me an email, that would definitely be appreciative also. Ms. Monday, I've been speaking about her being a project manager for the grants since day one, and she can attest to that. Even during budget time, I felt like we need to have her in that position and possibly have someone to fulfill the need of the public work director. Because she does a sensational job with the grant opportunity that she does. And she does everything the way it's supposed to be done. So hopefully we can come to a better place and how we can fulfill the need of doing that also. And then Gabby Day, man, that was another highlight of the weekend, man. Actually, it was Lauren King. She's from the Eatonville area, and it was one of my close friend Corey Jackson, which is his daughter. Her daughter was hit by a car crossing the road going just simply get something to eat. So we had chief, we had the police department, we had fire department from Orange County come out. We had so many different venues come out teach you safety, what I'm saying, about, how to stay safe. And I know it doesn't affect you if it didn't happen to you, but we got to be proactive about how we protecting our kids. That's why I'm so happy and proud that Ms. Monday put her efforts in putting these sidewalks down here, because she know how adamant I was about doing it. So, safety is, safety is number one, no matter where you at, whether, you're here, work, or what have you. So we got to definitely continue profoundly moving forward with making sure that our kids are safe at all times. The duplexes, Mr. Shepherd, if you can kind of explain to me. I know last time I tried to attempt to bring it back, it failed for the lack of second. If you can kind of explain to me, if you can, why is it somewhat illegal? I don't know if it's unlawful or not for me to continue bringing it back if it does fail. Can you explain it to me?
Yeah, sure. First of all, it's not illegal. Second of all, it's come back twice, and both times it's come back, it has failed to get a second. So what is going on here is the political process at work. There's not enough support to bring it back for consideration. And in some codes, I did check yours, and I don't think it's in there. But some codes, when you have a motion, it's based on council procedures, which has been tried and failed even once. If the same subject matter comes up again, it has to wait a certain period of time. But that is not your procedure, so there's nothing stopping you. This type of delay also occurs, for example, when someone attempts to go through a rezoning, not you guys, but someone comes up and says, I want to rezone my property. They fail. They are then typically prohibited from bringing it back for at least a year. And before you go through the whole process again, if they choose to do that. And so you can bring it up again. It's been up twice and down twice with no second. But nothing that I can point to stops you from continuing to bring it up.
Okay, with that being said, and I know it's something that you said has been best practice, but being that it's not illegal and it's not unlawful, I want to put a motion on the floor to bring it back for our next agenda, which is our next council meeting, which is the third Tuesday of this month. So that's my motion. I want to put a motion on the floor to bring the duplex opportunity up for decision, not discussion, for decision, for our next discussion, for our next council meeting. And that's my motion. Or Mayor, you can move it, or however you want to do it.
I second that because I would like to get a clearer understanding too. From the planner, and I think that's something that I can probably, maybe I can reach out to the planner so she can give me a clearer understanding of it. It doesn't have to be here in the open, so I second.
Yeah, so my motion is on the floor. It's been properly second. It's been moved and properly second.
We have,
Or Mayor, if you want
we
to.
have,
Question?
wait, hold on. Has it been properly moved? Do I need,
It's
it's been asked, so it's been
I've
moved
heard
and
a second.
seconded.
This is now discussion, I suppose, if you want to go forward.
Vice Mayor.
Is this for the ordinance, right?
To bring it back.
Right, you bring it back.
I thought it was, well, yeah, not to approve it, but just to put on for the ordinance, the first reading.
In order to make a decision,
Yeah.
it would have to be re-advertised. So it's already been defeated. So it'd have to come back probably with a new number. That's something I have to take up with the town clerk. But it has to come back. It has to be advertised for a first reading and then a second reading, just like before. And that's the way of it would go. Right now, nothing has been authorized to be changed. It's just bring back the same thing that's been defeated once and then voted down to even bring it back twice. So nothing is changing unless there's a direction to make a change. It would have to be advertised again as a first reading and then go through the process of a public hearing, which is the second reading. And then if it gets past both of those, then it becomes the law of the town.
Well, that's what I'm proposing. I've already put the motion on the floor. If that's the language that I need to use, we can associate that with what I just put on the floor.
Yeah, it would come with a new ordinance number because that was in 25, so it had to be 26. I don't know what that exact number is. Ms. King's not here. I think it'll be
Probably 26. 2026.
It's being advertised, so.
we're advertising if it passes.
Well, it got to pass first, but
Right.
yes.
Yeah, so that's, I know it's been, Mayor, I don't know, I moved it. It's been properly second. And I don't know if there's more questions or whatever.
All right, so it's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay.
And then my last thing,
So that's to put it on the agenda as an ordinance or.
Yeah, so it will come back as an ordinance on the first reading on the next agenda. So Ms. Marissa, can you make sure you put note of that? And then we'll go from there.
I think Ms. Almieri should be invited back since she was the presenter.
Yes, I'll check her schedule, make sure she can be.
Attorney Shepherd, I got one last question before I close my report.
No lawsuits.
Okay, thank you. And that's for the record. All right, if all minds and hearts are set, that's my report, and you have a blessed night.
And back for an encore.
Oh, no, it's not correct. Now, Miss Money, can you, but Kelly Lake, I had a couple issues, couple of citizens asked, called me early about the grass or the weeds growing through there. What are we doing about those, that grass,
We have, we're soliciting for, someone to come spray, and herbicide services, and then we have carp, we have the Fish and Wildlife is going to come in and put carp in. So that we just have to go through that process of selecting a herbicide company.
How soon Let's see if they do.
We already got one quote. I need to see if I can, move it faster. If I can, it's procurement issue.
But you think, will the seasons do that? Think winter would kill it off? The winter would kill that stuff off?
We have not had that kind of growth, in quite some time.
No, this is my first time ever seeing it
Yeah,
like
so,
that.
but we've got a spray, and then we'll put carpet in. We were just going to put carpet in, but now it's got too aggressive, so we have to come in and spray, and then it should die down within months.
And signatures we had to get, and signatures we had to get to in order to do it. You wanna
Correct.
explain that process as well?
Correct, I have to get 2 more commercial sites to sign off on CARP for some reason. Fish and Wildlife requires, signatures.
The cart,
Mhm.
but the spray don't need no signal.
Not that I know, no, we can bring a private company in.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. So I have that.
That's it.
That's it, yeah, that's.
All right, it is 8:48. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Remove.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
One more.
Yeah, all in favor say aye. All right. All right. 8:49.